Hey there guys, Joseph Willows here. It's been a while since I've uploaded on this channel, but today I thought I would play a game that, well, I say play a game, do a new series on a game I used to play when I was a little kid. In fact, it was the first ever racing game I ever purchased, which was ToCA 2 touring cars. So, yeah, so this is basically going to be a career mode on the game, but not any sort of career mode. It's kind of like a modded career mode in a way, because I don't know if any of you remember, I think it was around nearly 3 years ago, something like that, I made a video where I was creating mods for this particular game, ToCA 2 touring cars. Well, I think I was one of the first to upload something like that, I believe. I'm not taking any credit for that, but I don't know, but it turns out there have been several other videos with mods in mind, but from what I recall, there hasn't been one which has made a video regarding this sort of mod. Because there is a mod out there where you can replace the whole pack on the ToCA 2 touring car game. So I'm planning to do at least 6 seasons of this, hopefully, depending if I see through this series and see if I enjoy it. But yeah, doing a career mode on this game. And yeah, so we're going to be starting at a 1996 season. Yes, there is a 1996 mod on it. And the team I'll drive, well, you'll find out right now then, when you have a look at what the drivers and teams are for ToCA 2 touring cars for 1996. So starting off with the Honda Accords for this season, run by MSD. As you can see, the car running white and red livery, and for this, their drivers will be David Leslie and James Kay for this season. Moving on to the Audi A4s, a new team run by Audi Sport UK, have 2 new rookies in the sport, consisting of Englishman John Bincliffe and German Frank Bieler. Moving on to the Vauxhall Vectras, the new car that Vauxhall's running after the Cavalier, and they keep the same lineup from 1995, which is defending champion John Cleland and youngster James Thompson. Driving the Volvo 850s for this season will consist of yet again Rickard Rydell, and he's joined by former Ford driver Kelvin Burt for this season. Driving the Ford Mondeos for this season before switching to the new Mondeo will be Paul Radicic and myself. I will be driving the Ford Mondeo for my first season, because I just loved driving the Ford on this game when I played it as a kid. Driving the independently ran Nissan Primeras, ran by Ralph Sport, will be Gary Ailes and Owen McCauley, and surprisingly there isn't even a picture of him, to be honest with you, of his face. I've looked around on Google Images and there doesn't appear to be one, so I've just put a question mark there. Driving the Peugeot 406s this season, ran by Peugeot Sport, will be Tim Harvey and Patrick Watts yet again in the famous red Peugeots. And finally, the team ran by Williams F1 team, driving the Renault Lagunas will be Alain Menu and 1991 champion Will Hoy. So they are the drivers, and this is the calendar. As you can see, there are 13 race weekends in total, all consisting of 2 races. The first one taking place at Donington Park, the Grand Prix circuit of Donington Park, which is where we are for this episode. And then we're going to be going to the Brands Hatch Indy Circuit. Then we'll be going to the fastest track in the UK, Thruxton. Then at the International Circuit of Silverstone, the old International Circuit. And then we're going to the International Circuit of Alton Park. Then we'll be off to Snetterton, and then this would be the Grand Prix circuit of Brands Hatch, but because ToCA 2 doesn't have the Grand Prix layout of Brands Hatch, it will once again be the Brands Hatch Indy circuit. Round 8, back at the International Circuit of Silverstone, it would be the Grand Prix layout of this track, but again, like with the Grand Prix circuit of Brands Hatch, the Grand Prix circuit of Silverstone is not on ToCA 2, so it will yet again be the Silverstone International. Then we'll be going to the only trip to Scotland at Knockhill, then back at Alton Park, but this time for the Foster's Loop. Then back at Thruxton for round 11, once again at the Grand Prix track at Donington Park for the penultimate weekend, and then finally the Brands Hatch Indy Circuit plays also the final round. So as you can see, yeah, they went to Brands Hatch 3 times during 1996, so 6 chances to try and get it right around Brands Hatch, I suppose. So that is the calendar then, so let's move on to the actual action. So here we are then on my qualifying lap, and of course with it being ToCA 2 touring cars and the fact that the game was originally based on 1998, it is one-shot qualifying, so you only have one chance to get it right. So, yeah, so a little bit of history about this game, of course. It was my first racing game I ever raced on. I think the game came out in late 1998, and it is published by Codemasters. Yes, it is a Codemasters game, and at the time it was considered one of the best racing games, I believe it was. It was the second in the 3 games that they released at the time, which was based on real racing series. There was ToCA Touring Car Championship, which was the first game, ToCA 2 Touring Cars, which is this one, and ToCA World Touring Cars, I believe it was. And then they followed on with Race Driver, with ToCA Race Drivers, and then it is now, as we know it now, as Race Driver Grid. So, as Grid, I should say. So, yeah, that's that really, and you're going to see in a little bit that I actually make a mistake on this lap. As you go in towards the Grand Prix section, I clip the curb and spin around. First of all, I do apologise if it looks like I'm twitching too much with the controls. It is quite an old game. The controls back in the day were very twitchy, and if you put too much steering put on in some of the corners, you are going to spin quite dramatically. It's not as bad as what the first game was, but it's still a bit of a nightmare. So I do apologise if the driving looks a little bit newbie, a little bit like a noob is driving it. So anyway, so coming up towards the final corner now then, and as you come across the line, I believe this is possibly going to be last place because of that mistake, but we'll find out anyway. Let's have a look at the grid for race 1. So let's take a look at the starting grid then for the first race of the 1996 British Touring Car Championship. On pole position is the independently ran Nissan of Owen Macaulay. In second place, surprisingly, is the Peugeot of Patrick Watts, getting himself onto the front row. There's Rickard Rydell in the Volvo, with John Clone, the defending champion, in fourth place. The 2 Renaults lock out row 3 with Alain Menu 5th and Will Hoy in 6th position. Paul Radicic starts in 7th with David Leslie rounding out row 4. Then it is Gary Ailes starting in 9th, way behind his teammate, with Frank Bieler starting in 10th in the Audi. James Thompson is 11th with Tim Harvey in 12th position, and then it is James Kay who starts 13th with John Bincliffe in 14th position. And on the back row of the grid, it's Kelvin Burr and myself because of that mistake I made in the one-shot qualifying session. So 16 cars in total. We're all set for 15 laps of action here at the Grand Prix circuit of Donington. So without further ado, let's get to it. So here we are then for the start of the 1996 British Touring Car Championship. We're waiting for the lights to get underway. All 3 of them go red and it goes green, and we are underway for the 1996 British Touring Car Championship. And it seems to be a good start from us. We're trying to get onto the back of Bincliffe and onto the back of, I believe that's James Kay in front as well, as we go in towards turn 1. As you can see, you're going to see in a little bit, I take it a little bit cautiously to avoid any contact because the AI are quite aggressive on this game, it must be said. And have a little bit of a rub there with Kelvin Burt as we go down the hill towards the trickiest part of the course. This left-hander, very easy to spin the car off as we go up towards the old hairpin on the track. As you can see, braking a little bit early there because James Kay's being held up by one of the Peugeots. As we go up towards, I believe this is called McLean's, I believe it is. And as you can see, we've got some gaps going on a little bit, around about the same gap in front and behind, with Kay and Bincliffe in front and behind. As we go through the right-hander, again, sorry for the little twitchiness there. As I said, the game is quite twitchy when it comes to his handling. But as we go up towards Coppy's Corner, the very blind Coppy's Corner, taking a lot of curb through into there, but we get much better traction than what James Kay has in front, and also with the Peugeot in front as well. I believe that's Tim Harvey, because I believe Patrick Watts was on the front row of the grid. As we now go up towards the Grand Prix section, there's a little bit of a gap. I'm going to try and get underneath Harvey if I can, a little bit of contact, but I'm up into 13th place as we get onto the Grand Prix section of the course now then, as we approach the end of lap 1 of the race. You can see there's a little bit more side-by-side action going on in front at the moment as we brake towards the Melbourne hairpin. A little bit of locking from all of us there, but as you can see, I get a lot of traction compared to everybody else, and it's something that the AI have a weakness of. Their traction is a little bit dumb, but on the straight they are quite hard to pass as well. So as you can see, I get a lot of places going into the final corner and get up into a points playing position in 10th place. The top 10 get points for this race, and you'll see what the point system is like when we look at the championship at the end of this race. But the next target in front is David Leslie. We've got James Thompson and the Vauxhall behind us, and now we're going to go and skip towards the end of sector 2 now then, as we are on lap 2 of the race. And as you can see, we're trying to attack David Leslie in front. I think he's also trying to attack my teammate Paul Radicic in front as we go into the chicane, and we've been spun around. I believe James Thompson and the Vauxhall has spun us around. That is not exactly what we want, and we drop down to second to last. Luckily, we are in front of, I believe, one of the Audis, I believe, is at the back of the pack. I'm not 100% sure, but we have dropped down to 15th place as a result of the Vauxhall of James Thompson punting us off at that chicane, and hopefully we'll get to have a replay to see what on earth happened. Here we go then, so here is a replay of what exactly happened. So we come up towards the chicane now then, as I try and chase down Tim Harvey, and as you can see, sorry, I think it was the Honda, and as you saw there, Thompson trying to go a little bit aggressive into that corner, and as a result turns me around, and as a result I drop down to second to last place. So now we cut towards the end of lap 3. We're already caught onto the back of Tim Harvey, who started to lose some time as well. He locks up at the chicane. I go a little bit of a wiggle going through into that first part there. As you can see, get a lot more traction than what he does, and we have a lot more speed compared to the Peugeot. The Peugeot not the fastest down in the straight line, of course, as we now go in towards the right-hander, leaving him enough room just in case he's on the inside of me there, but we get it done, and we're up into 14th place, and our next target is, I believe, in front, Frank Bieler, I believe, in the Audi, as we come up towards the final corner, and get a little bit of a wiggle at the middle of that corner there, but we come on to start lap 4 of the race, and now we're skipping into the end of lap 4, and it is Frank Bieler that's in front, and we're right into the slipstream of the Audi driver now then, as we come up towards the chicane. For some reason I think it looked like he broke in the middle. He's going very defensive into that corner. We break a little bit late, and as a result we overcook the corner, and we are so lucky we didn't tag the back there of Bieler, so we're going to have to tuck him behind, maybe try and find a way around after the Melbourne hairpin perhaps, and try and get him in towards the last corner. We break a little bit later, go around the outside of Bieler if we can, and we get a lot more traction. Again, that is the AI's weakness on this game. I should stress I am on the hardest difficulty on this game, which is expert, so that's that really. There's a lock up there from Kelvin Burt there, but we get up into 13th place, getting past the Audi of Frank Bieler there, as we now skip towards the end of lap 5, now chasing down Kelvin Burt. We're still in 13th place as we try to get into the slipstream of the Volvo driver now then, as we go up towards the chicane, braking as late as he can. Again, a lot of cars in front, locking up, trying to brake as hard as they can, and again, Burt getting onto the brakes there. We're going to try and go around the outside of Kelvin Burt. We are the man that's replaced him at Ford, because Kelvin was at Ford for 1995. As we go in towards the hairpin, it looks like we've got 12, as it looks like Kelvin's tagged us, but luckily we've kept it going, and we're still in 12th place, but it has cost us any chance of trying to get, I believe, James Kay in front on that lap, so we're going to have to work on and try and get him onto the next lap if possible. As now in towards the final corner then, as we skip towards the end of lap 6 of the race now then, we're chasing down James Kay. We're in his slipstream now then, as we go up towards the chicane. Looks like Kay trying to go a little bit defensive. We're going to tuck him behind, see if we can try and get him onto the exit there. Looks like a teammate, Paul Radicic, is locked up a little bit, and he's had quite a poor exit compared to the rest of us. As we now come down out of that corner now then, it looks like we've got Kay, and now we're chasing down our teammate. We're going to try and see if we can try and get on that gap on the outside just to avoid hitting our teammate. He is our teammate at the end of the day. We don't want to be hitting him, of course, but we move up into 10th, and look at this, we're moving up into 9th place. We've just got past James Thompson there in the Vauxhall. Could we potentially get by on Patrick Watts there? We tagged the side of him there and smashed a little bit of his window there, so we do apologise for that, being a little bit over aggressive, I should say. But now we're trying to get Patrick Watts if we can. We're going to go down to the inside in towards turn 1, see if we're able to get the move done into this corner. Down the inside we go, and we're able to do so. We are up into 8th place, getting by on Patrick Watts there, as we are now on lap 7 of 15 here of the first of 2 races here at the Prix circuit of Donington Park. My home event, of course, because I actually don't live that far away from there. I think I live roughly around half an hour away from the track, and it is right next door to the local airport as well, East Midlands Airport. So now as we go down up towards McLean's now then, our next target I believe will be David Leslie in a Honda, so we've got a lot of time to gain on him as a result. There's a big gap in front, so we're going to try and push hard and dig deep to see if we can try and get him as we come up towards the blind coppies corner, and we've lost the back end. We've lost the back end. This is a complete disaster, and somebody's tagged us onto the side, and it looks like a little bit of damage. I don't know which body part of the car that came from. I don't believe it's ours, but we'll possibly need to have a look at the replay and see who was the one that tagged the side of us there and got the damage. But we're down to last place behind the Peugeot of Tim Harvey. Not great at all whatsoever. As now let's have a look at the replay then. As you can see, we are now coming up towards Copper's corner. As you can see, we're already losing the back end before we even got onto the curve, and we lose it a little bit more, and it was our teammate that attacked the side of us, Paul Radicic. That's where the damage came from, our teammate Paul Radicic, has sustained some damage. We've smashed the windows on the side, in fact both sides of the car, and well, we've dropped to the last place. I do apologise to my teammate Paul Radicic there, but I didn't really have much control over the car there. In the meantime, we're skipping towards the end of lap 9 as we're now onto the back of Tim Harvey. We've clipped the back of him there as kind of broke testers there coming out of the exit of the corner. But now as we come up towards the Melbourne Airport, we are up into P15, and now we're coming up to the back of the two Audis of John Bincliffe and Frank Bieler, so they'll be our next target to try and gain 2 places at least in this race now then, as we come up towards the final corner of this racetrack now then, and trying to ensure I don't lose it, as it is quite bumpy at the beginning of that turn there. As now we skip towards the end of lap 10, going through Copy Corner. Looks like one of the Audis has lost the back end there. It's Frank Bieler that's in front of us. We're hopefully going to try and take advantage. We've got a lot of speed coming out of Coppice, going down to the inside of him, in towards the chicane. Having been able to grab 14th for it, we're going to try and break that a little bit later, and we do so. Up into 14th place goes ourselves, getting by the German of Frank Bieler. And I should point out, I haven't adjusted any of the car settings on this game, or any of the stats for these cars at all to match with 1996, because I don't think there is a possible way to do it on this game. But luckily the pack is quite close on this game, so hopefully we can get some different winners here and there. So meantime, we're now onto the back of John Bincliffe as we go down, trying to get Danny inside of him into the last corner, but Bincliffe shuts the door, breaking out a little bit later, and stays in front of us for P number 13, as he looks like he's trying to pass Patrick Watts in front in the Peugeot there, and Frank Bieler behind us at the moment. We are currently in an Audi sandwich. Bincliffe trying to have a look to the inside there of Patrick Watts in towards turn 1 there, but unable to get the move done, and we're hopefully going to try and take advantage of this if we can as we go down the hill towards what will be the old hairpin. As soon as we come out of that left-hander there, a tricky left-hander, very easy to lose the back end into that corner. Through the old hairpin we go, fast exit through into there as we go up towards McLean's of East Gold, underneath the bridge that doesn't exist anymore. It's the bridge where Nigel Mansell knocked himself out in 1993. And coming up towards the right-hander, Bincliffe looking to the inside. He had to go on the grass there to try and find a way by on Patrick Watts. We're going to try and take advantage. We're going to make it 3 abreast now then. It's going to be quite risky, and it is a bit of a risk. Looks like I've lost it. It looks like the Audi of Bieler has lost it as well. And we're in the wars again. It was a little bit of a risk, and I paid the price as a result. And once again, we're down to 15th place behind Tim Harvey, and it was actually Bincliffe that we made contact with. I do apologise, not Bieler. And now as we come up towards the chicane, but we're going to be skipping to the end of lap 12 as we're trying to chase down Tim Harvey. We're hoping to try and salvage something in this race, so we believe that now points is possibly out of the cards for us in race 1. We're hopefully going to try and get points in race 2 if we can. Coming out of the chicane, better exit than what Tim Harvey has, going to the inside of his Peugeot as we go up towards the Melbourne hairpin, and I believe we've got the move stuck, and we have done. Up into 14th place goes ourselves, and next target for us will be Frank Bieler in the Audi as we come up towards the final corner to start lap 13 of the race now then. And now skipping towards the middle of lap 13 in fact, because Bieler's actually coming up towards Patrick Watts itself. Again, an Audi and a Peugeot fighting it out for 12th place, hoping to try and take advantage, but this time, unlike before, we're not close to the back of them, and even if we was, we aren't going to try and do that risky move. As you can see, Bieler does a mistake that what Bincliffe did a little earlier, or I think he actually did himself. Does it again, loses the back end out of Coppice, and we take full advantage to move up into 13th. Can we try and get perhaps Patrick Watts at the exit of the chicane, trying to break as late as possible, losing the back end a little bit there, but able to catch it, get a lot better traction than what Patrick Watts has, and we move up into 12th place as a result, getting by on the Peugeot driver. Up into 12th place we go, and we've got quite a bit of a gap in front of us at the moment. I think in front of us is James Kay, I might be wrong, James Kay in the Honda, but we're going to be skipping towards the end of the race, and in fact it looked like the Volvo in fact of Kelvin Burt, but we aren't going to have enough time to get past him, so it's only going to be P12 in our first race. Not exactly what we wanted. I felt we had the pace for points, but unfortunately that's not going to be the case, so we're going to be crossing the line in 12th place in the end. Not the way we wanted to start, but at least we do have points. We do have pace for points. So here is the results then of the race here for the first race here at Donington Park Grand Prix. Owen McCauley won the race with Rickard Riddell second, Will Hoy finished in third with teammate Alan Menu fourth, Gary Ailes finished in fifth with John Cullen sixth, David Leslie was seventh with James Thompson rounding out the top 8. And if we move on to the rest of the results, Paul Radicic managed to get points in the Ford, so he takes 2 points away, so at least Ford did get some points, and James Kay rounding out the points in 10th. Then it was Calvin Burt 11th, myself in 12th, Patrick Watt Watts 13th, Tim Harvey 14th, with Frank Beeler and John Bincliffe rounding out the back of the field. It means in the Drivers' Championship, of course, Owen McCauley takes an early lead. He's on 16 points. You get 15 points for a victory, but he's on 16 because, of course, Owen got pole position, of course, and you get a bonus point for pole position, and the rest is follows. So McCauley is in first on 16 points, Rickard Rydell second on 12, Will Hoy third on 10 points, fourth is Alan Menu on 8 points, then it is Gary Ailes fifth on 6 points, John Clellan sixth on 5 points, David Leslie seventh on 4 points, James Thompson in 8th with 3 points, and if we scroll to the rest of it, Paul Radisich is on 2 points, James Kay, the final man to have points on 1 point. The points go towards the top 10, and as you can see, the rest still to score are Kelvin Burt, ourselves, Patrick Watts, Tim Harvey, Frank Beeler and John Bincliffe. And moving on to the Teams Championship, Rouse Sport, the independently ran Nissan team, lead the way by 4 points ahead of Williams Renault. Volvo are in third, with Vauxhall fourth, Honda in fifth. Valvoline Team Mondeo are in 6th, that's ourselves, and Total Team Peugeot and Audi Sport UK are still yet to score points. And in the Manufacturers Championship, the only championship that Nissan isn't in because they are an independently ran team, everybody else is in the pack are manufacturers. Volvo leaded by 2 points at the Renault, with Vauxhall 3rd, Honda 4th, Ford 5th, Peugeot in 6th and Audi in 7th. The points in the Manufacturers Championship, you get points in that depending on who was the highest place finisher of each of the teams. So obviously Radisich was the highest place finisher for us, so he puts 2 points on the board, and the highest place finisher for Volvo was of course Rickard Rydell because he finished second, so he put 12 points on the board as a result, because second place is worth 12 points. So there you have it then. So now we are going to move on then to race 2 of the day. So here we are then for the one-shot qualifying session for race number 2. Now, just to let you know, this game I'm playing on, it is on the PC. There was a PS1 version of it, but I'm playing it on the PC. But it's not my mini laptop, which I'm using for IFMC. It's actually another laptop I'm using, which has a lot more RAM and that, and a lot more quicker than the mini laptop. I'm hoping to move IFMC onto this laptop by Season 4 or Season 4-5 IFMC IndyCar. What I'm using to control this game is my PS4 controller, not my keyboard, but like I've said earlier, it is still a touchy game, which is why it looks like I'm a little bit of a noob when I'm steering, and I really lose the back end there, but luckily I managed to catch it going out of that right-hander there. But anyway, this is my qualifying lap, as I've mentioned, as we go through in towards Coppice Corner. So yeah, I'm hoping to try and get this this laptop to run Grand Prix 3, and hopefully we can move IFMC on here, and hopefully no more crashing of modded tracks, and maybe these modded tracks could even I don't know, maybe run a little bit faster than what it is on my mini laptop, but hopefully it will work. There is no modded tracks on this game for ToCA 2 touring cars though. They only do mods for the cars. There isn't mods for tracks as well, so unfortunately there isn't like a Silverstone Grand Prix or Brands Hatch Grand Prix mod to go on this game, which would have been helpful for 1996, but oh well. But as we cross the line to finish off our qualifying session, let's have a look at the grid for race 2. So let's have a look at the grid then for race 2 here at the Donington Park Grand Prix circuit, the first weekend of the 1996 season. And as you can see, it is Rickard Rydell who starts on pole position, with Owen McCauley, the early championship leader, in second place. It is then Alain Menu who starts in third, with David Leslie in the Honda in fourth position. His teammate James Kay improves on his qualifying from earlier to qualify fifth, with John Clelland in sixth. Gary Ailes starts in 7th, with James Thompson in 8th position. Then it is the Peugeot of Patrick Watts who starts in 9th, with John Bincliffe getting his Audi into the top 10. Paul Radisich starts in 11th, with Will Hoy in 12th position. In 13th is Frank Beeler, 14th is ourselves. Not really what we wanted to be, but at least it's not last place. And on the back row of the grid, it's Tim Harvey and Kelvin Burt. So with all 16 cars rearing to go for race 2, let's get into the race. So here we are then for race 2 here at Donington Park. We are waiting for the lights to go out. 3 lights are on and they turn green, and we are underway for the second race of the day, the final race here at Donington Park for this weekend. And as you can see, we get a great start, it appears. We're going side by side with, I believe that's John Sorry, that's Frank Bieler on the left-hand side of us, and we've got Will Hoy in front, breaking into turn 1 again, taking it cautiously, and we drop to the back of the pack because we know that the AI like to be quite aggressive into turn 1. But we take full advantage of all the locking that's going on to go down the inside. We're taking places one by one, getting up into 12th place. Now we're right behind Will Hoy as we go down the hill towards the old hairpin. He's stuck behind, I believe that's James Thompson in front of him, locking up at the old hairpin. We go a tad bit wide, shaking the car a little bit. Luckily, the car behind Kelvin Burt doesn't take full advantage of that as we go up the hill through and towards McLean's, I believe it's called, as now we go up towards the right-hander, going over the bumps into there, and now up towards the Coppice corner. Looks like Hoy's getting stuck behind a traffic of cars at the moment. Looks like the Peugeot of Patrick Watts is holding everybody up because it appears to be like a gap in front of him from the distance there. A little bit more tyre smoke coming from there. Looks like Will Hoy may clip the back of James Thompson a little bit there. Was kind of being dragged along a little bit as they all lock up in towards the chicane. We're going to try and have a little look at Will Hoy. A little bit aggressive if you like, but going down the inside, leaving some room on the right hand side, trying to get the traction on him as best as they can coming out of the corner, and we manage to do that, and we get up into P11, getting in front of Will Hoy in the Renault as we now try and target James Thompson as we go through in towards the Melbourne hairpin. Looks like in fact Watts is actually getting held up by my teammate. In fact, so Watts wasn't holding up the pack, it was actually my teammate Paul Radicic that was holding everybody up. We go down the inside of James Thompson, get a lot better traction, getting up into 10th. Can we try and slip down the inside of Patrick Watts at the same time? Yes we can. Up into P9 we go as we go down the pit straight now, then trying to chase down our teammate Paul Radicic for P8 of the race, which will be worth 3 championship points. I'm aiming to try and get points by the end of the weekend after coming back with no points in race 1 after all the issues that we had during that race. But now as we skip towards the end of lap 3, still trying to chase down teammate Paul Radicic. We go up towards Coppice corner now, then clipping the curb, and we make a similar mistake to race 1, only this time it's the curb that spins us off, not the back end. And how many places are we going to drop? There seems to be a clearing. No, I've clipped one of the Audis. Which one of the Audis was that? I couldn't quite tell which one it was, but we've dropped down to 14th behind Tim Harvey, and wow, what a disaster. It looks like we're going to have to try and push hard and try and get the points back, it appears. And it could have been Frank Bieler because that's John Bincliffe that's behind us. We get by there on Tim Harvey there, easy done down the chicane, but a lot of time has been lost as a result. And I think we're going to actually have a look at the replay to see what happens. So here we are then, just coming out of that right-hander at McLean's as we go up towards Coppice corner, clip the curb, lose the back end, and Hoy was looking to jam on the brakes there because otherwise he could have been collected as well, so he was looking to react to that, and it was an Audi clipped, and it looked to be Frank Bieler as we just go and have a look to see if we are correct on that, and it is Frank Bieler. We have pushed off Frank Bieler off the track. I do apologise. I thought there was a clearing, but clearly not, and Frank Bieler has been punted off and finds himself at the back of the pack behind teammate John Bincliffe. But now we skip towards the end of lap 4, and we're actually coming up to this battle between, I believe this is Patrick Watts and James Thompson as we go through into towards the Melbourne area. And Thompson gets through into a length, getting by Patrick Watts at the hairpin. We're going to try and follow suit, coming out the exit of that corner up towards the final corner. We go to the outside of the track, leaving him the space on the inside at the same time, and leaving the space in towards the corner. A little bit of a tap I think there was there, but we managed to get up into 12th place and get by on Patrick Watts. Can we now get James Thompson for P number 11 in the Vauxhall Vectra, as now we go up towards turn 1, getting out of his dirty air, braking a little bit later than Thompson there. Thompson locking up the rears in towards that turn 1 there. We try and look to the inside, down the hill we go. We got a lot more speed than what Thompson has going down the hill, but Thompson's shoving us onto the grass, and we have to back out of that as a result and have to tuck him behind for the rest of the lap as we go down through the old hairpin there, just missing the apex, unlike Thompson who managed to bang on to the apex there, taking a lot of curb I should say, as we go up the hill towards McLean's now then, and now through in towards this right-hander, trying everything I can to get by on James Thompson, trying to get that place back that those places back that I lost after spinning on the previous lap here at Coppice corner. Luckily we don't spin off this time, but coming down at the exit of sector 2, we're 1.05 behind James Thompson now, and as we go up towards the chicane, looks like Tim Harvey has got by on teammate Patrick Watts, so he gets up into 13th place in towards the chicane, which will take us onto the Grand Prix section of the course. A lot more traction than what Thompson has, flicking the car to the right, and we move up into P11. Next target, I don't know, but will be for 10th place, which is points. Of course, the top 10 get points in the British Touring Car Championship, as I've just said a little earlier on when we did race 1, as we now come up towards the Melbourne hairpin. So through in towards the chicane now then, as we try and chase down Kelvin Burt, in fact, which is our next target in the Volvo. Kelvin Burt currently holding on to a points paying position as he looks to try and add points to Volvo's points account in both. Well, in fact, just the team's championship at the moment, because Rickard Rydell's way in front of him at the moment. So far, Rickard will be getting points towards the manufacturers at the moment, which Volvo currently lead. But now coming up towards the final corner, I find a gap down the inside of Kelvin Burt. I break a little bit late, and as a result, Kelvin flicks it back to the inside and retakes 10th place from him. Kelvin at the moment looks to be in a Ford sandwich, because while he's got me for company chasing him down, he's also got Paul Radicic, my teammate, in front of him as he's trying to grab ninth from him there, as Kelvin broke a little bit earlier than what we did. Looks like he lost the back in a little bit there. Can we try and take advantage going down the hill? Looks like Kelvin has recovered a little bit and keeps himself in front. We aren't able to get alongside, unlike what we did last time with James Thompson a couple of laps ago now then, as now we go down through the old hairpin now then, and losing a little bit of time. It looks like this section is not my strongest point. The AI seems to be doing better than me down at this point of the course now then, as we've opened up quite a big lead in front of James Thompson, who's dropping behind us at a rate of knots, down in 12th place at the moment. As we go up towards Coppy's corner now then, as looked like Burt had a little look there, but he looks like he's lost the back end a little bit coming out of that corner, just like the two Audis did in the previous race at race 1. Can we get full advantage? Well, we are getting a little bit. We're not close to the back of him. We're hoping to try and get him out of the traction zone towards the chicane. Kelvin gets a little bit defensive because he can sort of feel the pressure from us, as now we go through the right-hander and we take full advantage, get a lot more traction than what Kelvin does, and we get up into 10th place. We're now back into the points as a result, and we're now chasing down our teammate Paul Radicic for P number 9 now then, as we go out of the old of the Melbourne hairpin there, and now approaching the final corner as we try and chase down Paul Radicic, our own teammate, for P9. That will be for 2 championship points as a result as we go through in towards the last corner. But look at this, Kelvin Burt being a little bit cheeky coming out of there, trying to find a way back past, but we're having none of it. Get extra traction coming out of that final corner, and we keep hold of 10th place, and now we can set our sights on Paul Radicic as a result. Going a little bit defensive into turn 1, but that was just to ensure that Kelvin did not get by. Now we skip towards the end of lap 9 of the race. As you can see, Kelvin's still right behind our chuff at the moment, and we're quite a bit behind Paul Radicic at the moment as we go up towards the chicane now then, going through into the left-hander, and as you can see, a lot more traction than what Paul Radicic has. Paul Radicic seems to be struggling for that chicane all weekend compared to everybody else. We take maximum advantage of that and move up into P9, so now we have 2 championship points currently on hold at the moment here, as we try and see if we can try and get some more points in the moment, because I could just about see the car in front. Our next target is, I believe, perhaps James K in the Honda. I could be wrong, but it could be James K that's in front of us at this stage in the Honda as we just come out of the final corner now. Then now we skip to the end of lap 11 of the race, and it is a Honda. I believe it might be James K in front of us now then, as we go up towards the second to the last corner now then, which is the Melbourne hairpin, and trying to break as late as possible to try and get by on James K now then, coming out the corner, getting a lot more traction than what K has. There's just enough room on the inside to try and put a pass on him now then, as we go in towards the final corner now then on the track, through the final corner, and we get up into P8, disposing of James K pretty easily there. So up into P8 goes ourselves now then, as we go down towards turn 1 on the track now then. So we're now on lap 12 of the race, and so far things seem to be going according to plan, despite that mistake we made a little bit earlier on. We finally got ourselves back in the position that we was, I believe, well, 1 place higher than the position that we were a little bit earlier on before we had our spin at Coppice Corner. But so far we're keeping the car pretty tidy at the moment as we now go up the hill towards, I believe this is McLean's, I believe this is called. I'll probably have to do some research after I've made this video, of course, or do some on my spare time, of course. But now as we go up towards Coppice Corner now then, as you can see, I obviously made a mistake here a little earlier on, and being a little bit gentle towards that corner there. I'm not trying to get on the curve, but as you can see there, James K being a little bit cheeky there, found a gap on the inside as I was taking that corner a little bit cautiously. Goes side by side with me as we go up towards the chicane, trying to break that a little bit later than what K does, and we make sure he stays behind us, and we keep hold of P8 as a result. But well, K clearly not giving up on us there as a result. But now we're going to be skipping on towards the final lap of the race, because nothing really much happened on lap 13 and the penultimate lap. So we're skipping towards the end of the race now then, where we're going to be finishing in P8. We're going to get our first points on the board this season, and after a disappointing race 1, we come back with a brilliant race 2 overall. So I would say a perfect start to my debut season in the British Touring Car Championship. A brilliant 8th place. I couldn't be more happy with that. But there you have it then, guys. After all of that, here is the results of race 2 then. Rickard Rydell won the race with Alain Menu 2nd. Owen McCauley finished in 3rd with teammate Gary Ailes in 4th. David Leslie finished in 5th with Will Hoy 6th. John Clennon finished in 7th. Ourself is in 8th place, getting our first points on the board of 1996. James Kay finished in 9th with Paul Radisic rounding out the points in 10th, ensuring that both Fords managed to get points in this race. And then 11th was Kelvin Burt. James Thompson was in 12th with Tim Harvey 13th, John Bincliffe 14th, Frank Beeler 15th, and Patrick Watts in 16th position. So if we now look then at the Drivers' Championship, and as a result of his victory at race 2, Rickard Rydell now leads the championship by 2 points ahead of Owen McCauley, with Alain Menu 3rd, teammate Will Hoy is in 4th, with Gary Ailes 5th, David Leslie is in 6th, John Clennon is in 7th, and then there's a 4-way tie for 8th place. James Thompson is in 8th, and if we scroll to the next page, it is ourselves in 9th, our teammate Paul Radisic in 10th, with James Kane the last person to have points in 11th, and then it is Kelvin Burt, Tim Harvey, Patrick Watts, John Bincliffe, and Frank Beeler that is still yet to score points this season. In the Teams Championship, Rouse Sport still lead it by 5 points ahead of Williams Renault, with Volvo in 3rd, Honda move up into 4th, with Vauxhall 5th, Team Mondeo are in 6th, with Turtle Team Peugeot and Audi Sport UK still yet to score points this season. And if we move on to the Manufacturers Championship, as you can see, Volvo increased their lead at the top by 5 points ahead of Renault, with Honda moving up to 3rd, Vauxhall are 4th, Ford are in 5th, with Peugeot and Audi still yet to score. But guys, that has been it then for the first episode of this ToCA 2 Career Mode, the 1996 BTCC season. I hope you've enjoyed it. It has been a brilliant first episode, a lot of action going on, and hopefully we can have a great first season in the British Touring Car Championship. But until then, guys, that has been it. I hope you've enjoyed it. Leave a like on this video if you enjoyed it. Let me know in the comments what I can do to improve this series. But until then, I've been Joseph Willows, and I will see you guys next time at the Brands Hatch Indy Circuit for the second weekend, rounds 3 and 4 of the championship. But until then, I've been Joseph Willows, and I'll see you guys next time. Till then, take care.